here's the other thing that
At the end of the day, TRT is really just a gentle way of saying I'm using steroids, but at a lower dose.
no, silly. Next.
This is the TRT and Hormone Optimization YouTube channel. And if you want to learn all about the science-based information on this topic, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, and you'll be on your way.
Okay, guys, I have sent another video to Danny. It's a video about TRT from Sean Nalewanyj. Go ahead, Danny.
Okay, so I just finished doing a video with Steven about the Scott Herman and Derek from More Plates, More Dates. And I was about to pack up my stuff here. And he goes, hold on. He says, did you see the video of Sean Nalewanyj? And I'm like, I don't know who Sean Nalewanyj is. He's like, watch this. So we just watched it together. Steven, seriously, dude? Okay, let's just, we're going to have to go through this one real quick because this is just silly. Okay, so very first off.
Now, just to be clear here, okay, I am not some sort of high-level TRT expert. I don't have any first-hand experience using it.
He says right off the bat, I'm not an expert and I've never used it. Why would I get on YouTube and show my ugly mug and talk about something that I know nothing about, that I've never tried, and that I've never used? For what? What possible reliable information could I provide you if I've never done something ever and claiming straight out, I'm not an expert in this field, okay? People call me an expert. I don't even consider myself an expert because I talk to the real experts and I'm like nobody, okay? But for someone to say I know nothing about the subject, let me now give my opinion, is like I said in the Scott Herman video, you know, here's a piece of string. I got a piece of string. So that means that I can discuss string theory because I have a piece of string here, right? And I know what string is, right? Everyone knows what string is. We should all be able to discuss string theory, right? No, silly. Next.
And that's that if you are a guy in your teens or your 20s or probably even your early to mid 30s, it is very rare that you would actually require testosterone replacement therapy for medical purposes, like to where there's actually something physiologically wrong with your body to where it doesn't produce enough testosterone and where it's not just the result of having an unoptimized lifestyle and diet.
So here he's saying that guys in their 30s or under, it's actually extremely rare for them to have any type of issues with testosterone, and they have to be measurably low. I don't know where he's getting this information because everything I'm seeing a lot of guys getting younger and younger and younger and having more and more and more issues. And I'm not talking about guys that have taken anabolics and destroyed their natural production. I'm talking about guys that have been living on the earth for the last, 20 years or so and have been bombarded with all the pollutants and the hormones and all the plastics and the air we're breathing and the preservatives and all the other shit that their bodies are getting full of. And that's why they have issues. And if you think this is rare now, oh boy, do I have a surprise in store for you, because this is going to continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Okay? To suggest that anybody under 30 shouldn't be taking TRT is asinine. Watch this one here.
And only a very, very, very small percentage of people actually have natural testosterone levels right up at the top level of that range.
Very small percentage of guys apparently having testosterone levels at the high end of normal. It's a very small percentage. No, it's not. We see guys like that all the time. There are guys that come in that have levels at the high end of normal, have all the symptoms of low testosterone and wonder, to show us our bloods. Like, look at my bloods. Why do I feel like this? Because on paper, I look amazing. There's been people that got sent to Dr. Jordan Grant, this guy in his 70s, who had his total T levels over 1100. And the previous doctor thought that this was an issue and that Jordan should find a way to bring his levels down to a more healthy level. Okay. No, it's not rare for guys to have levels at the upper end of normal. Okay. Right now, the levels are based on a population of primarily sick people. And I can guarantee you that a decade prior, those levels were higher. They absolutely were higher. Okay. You look at, again, this is the biggest analogy I always give people. Go on Google and look at beach pics 1950s or beach pics 1940s. Where's all the obesity? You don't see anybody overweight there. It's very rare. Where's all the cardiovascular disease and diabetes and all this other stuff? You don't see much of that back then. Why do you think that is? Is it a lot to do with diet? Yes, absolutely. But there was a lot less of this crap that our bodies are being bombarded with. And I guarantee you that had a huge impact on their testosterone levels, because today you could eat as healthy as you want and you could still have tanked levels, and there's no food or whatever that's going to suddenly bring those levels up. So I think that's kind of silly right there. Then he talks about, this is the one every time I hear it, I just giggle.
Whereas for somebody who is injecting synthetic testosterone, that causes the levels to remain more or less stable throughout the entire day, regardless of their lifestyle or their diet.
So he's talking about injecting synthetic testosterone. Sean, can you please send me a message comparing the the molecular structure of naturally occurring endogenous testosterone and with your synthetic testosterone? Because I would love to see the difference of what a natural molecule and a synthetic molecule looks like. Can you please send that to me? The second you said synthetic testosterone, your points are moot. You don't understand testosterone. You don't even know what testosterone is. Okay? There's no such thing as synthetic testosterone. It's either testosterone or it's not testosterone. If there's any variance to that molecular structure, it's not testosterone anymore. That's how synthetic anabolic steroids are made. Testosterone derivatives. They take a testosterone molecule and they adjust something here or there and they turn it into something else. That something else now is no longer testosterone. If it's synthetic, it has to be different. And if it's different, it's not testosterone. We are injecting bioidentical testosterone. There's only one type of testosterone, and it's the same molecule that we make or the same molecule we inject. It's bioidentical. The body does not differentiate between the two. They are exactly one and the same. End of discussion right there.
At the end of the day, TRT is really just a gentle way of saying I'm using steroids, but at a lower dose. And
TRT is steroids at a lower dose. Okay. Any bodybuilder out there that has done cycles, I want you to go see everyone around you and say, here's some tren that I take, but I only want you to take 10 milligrams a week, right? It's steroids at a lower dose. Do you think that's going to do anything for you? No, it's not. TRT is not steroids at a lower dose. First of all, there's a lot of different types of steroids, okay? You've got the anabolic steroids that everyone knows, seems to know about, but no one ever seems to know about the kind of steroids that are found in the body. Do you know that estradiol is a steroid? Do you know that estradiol is anabolic in nature, that it promotes muscle growth? And if you actually tank your levels, you're actually hurting your gains. Do you know how many different types of steroids there are in the body? I think a lot of you should go on Google and just type types of steroids found in the human body. And there's a long list. It seems that everyone knows what testosterone is, but no one seems to know what the rest of them are. Okay, so to say TRT is steroids, first of all, you should have been saying TRT is anabolic steroids. And even anabolic steroids, most people find testosterone is in one camp and anabolic steroids are the synthetic derivatives. Okay, that line gets blurred by a lot of different people depending on who you're asking, but it's very difficult to compare a natural substance with a synthetic substance. To say that it's steroids at a lower dose, so if you're injecting, you're giving yourself 80 milligrams a week, an absolute bare minimum just to keep your level at about 400 or something like that, you're suddenly on steroids. Okay, if you're suddenly on steroids, now's the time to go to the gym and go get the huge gains, right? You're going to go eat and you're going to train and you're going to get huge because you're on steroids. Doesn't work that way. Sean, doesn't work that way. And I know that you think this because you're natural and you've never taken testosterone, you've never been on TRT, and you frankly don't know how any of this works. I'm on a really decent dose of testosterone and I got to fight tooth and nail for every little bit of muscle I have. I can assure you, I'm not going to ever turn into some beefcake. It ain't going to happen. If I wanted to do that, I'd have to get on some serious high shit levels of anabolics to even get there. And even then the genetics are going to be in play. I just don't have the genetics. I can probably eat and train and take a bunch of drugs, and I might blow up like a balloon for a little bit. As soon as I get off, I'm just going to shrink right back down again. Okay. So if you just think that just doing this is like steroids at a low dose and it's just going to turn you into this super athlete, no, absolutely freaking not. Here's the other thing that
the term TRT is misleading to begin with if your test levels are already within the normal range.
He's saying TRT is misleading if your levels are normal. So in his head, well, if you're okay on paper, that's when you don't need TRT. Your levels have to be off to justify TRT. No, the levels on paper are meaningless. You could be at the low end of normal and have no symptoms. Get no symptoms. Don't do anything. You're fine. You have no symptoms. You feel great. Libido, sleep well. Everything's perfect. You've got some muscle. Don't touch anything. You're fine. Then you can have the guys at the high end of normal that you would expect to be a million times better than those low guys. And they have all the symptoms of low testosterone. So what do you do there? You're going to leave them there? You're not going to fix them? You're going to say, well, yeah, but on paper, you're normal. So, TRT now would be a very misleading thing for you to do because your levels are up. The number on the paper is meaningless. I did a video about this recently. The number on the paper is meaningless because it sometimes just doesn't have that same bang for the buck that it does in other people. You can have two guys with a natural level of 800. One looks like an absolute jock, and the other one is a pathetic, feeling just frail, fragile, weak-ass guy that knows something's wrong with him, but he's comparing his testosterone levels to his other buddy who's a jock, and they're both at 800, and he's wondering why he doesn't feel like he does, because the numbers are essentially meaningless, okay? He might need to have his levels here to feel like this guy. Maybe he needs them here. Maybe he needs them here. Maybe he needs them. We don't know what level he would need to match his friend. And then he's not going to have the same genetics as his friend, okay? So you can't look at this as this whole numbers thing just drives me nuts because there's so many guys that are being denied therapy because of the number. There's so many guys that are being denied a proper dose because of a number. And I wish the number stuff would just stop. I wish that guys could just go into a doctor where they were not even measured, frankly, not even measured, and just discuss, here's the way I've been feeling. What do you think I should do? Doc says, well, it looks like a lot of symptoms of low testosterone. Let's bring up your levels a little bit higher and let's see what impact that has, good or bad. If it helps, great. And if it doesn't, we're going to try something else. And if it helps, leave it alone. Why go have now to look to see what number they are on paper if numbers are meaningless and then adjust those based on that? Doesn't work that way. Any doctor out there targeting a number, and I've talked to a lot of doctors lately that have reached out to me from this channel and the Facebook group, and they want to discuss their own protocols and their own strategies and stuff because they want to be on my list of like recommended providers. I have this list I've made in the Facebook group of the guys I feel like are really doing a good job. And I have no financial interest in them whatsoever. Nobody's paying me a referral fee. I'll ask somebody, well, where are you from? I'm from this state. Oh, I happen to know a really good doctor in this state. Give him a call. I'm not even telling him, make sure you call and say that Danny Bossa referred you. I don't care. All I'm saying is that doctor I know knows his stuff. I've spoken to him. I know what his strategies and protocols are. I've sent guys there. They had really good results. They had a really good service. And that's my go-to guy for that state. And I will. But there's so many of them that'll contact me that are just spouting, well, I target the high end of range. It's almost like they think that they're like this new progressive doc. I want to be the new progressive doc. So I'm going to tell them that I aim for the high end. I want to get them optimized. So I aim for the high end and I try to get their DHEA, at the high end and everything. Who gives a shit what the freaking paper says? The paper it's a waste of time. It's an absolute waste of time. It means nothing. It's meaningless. It's nothing. I haven't even done labs myself in a year and a half. I'm going to go do labs now just to see what my overall blood health is, like lipids and RBC and all this other kind of stuff. Is there anything that's going off, anything with my health? I'm going to measure my testosterone levels just for the sake of curiosity to see if they've gone up and gone down and whatever, because I kind of do this stuff on the side. But I'm going to go do that based on those values and nothing else. There's no doctor that I wouldn't engage with now and say, hey doc, like, how are my labs? Look at my free T and my total T. What do you think I should do? And the doctor says, oh shit, I think you need to lower your dose, because you're over the high end here. See, like, this is the high end and you're over here. And that's not, that could be very dangerous. You can cause a lot of harm and you're going to get this issue. You're going to get cancer. You're going to get a stroke and get a heart attack. And there's no doctor that's going to convince me to do that now because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Sorry, but it's bullshit.
Okay, TRT is a serious thing, and the vast majority of you shouldn't be doing it if you're below the age of probably like 35 minimum.
Before we continue, if you appreciate the content we bring to this channel, check out the Amazon links in the description of this video. These are the links to the products we use, going from supplements, protein powder, pre, post, intra-workout, anti-aging cream, sunscreen, needles and syringes to inject, and so on. If you'd like to purchase one of those products, please use the direct link so that it will earn us a few cents as a tip, and you'll be guided directly to the products we recommend. Thanks in advance.
All links should work on the US, Canadian and UK Amazon stores.
So he doesn't think anybody should get on TRT unless they're if they're under 35. Okay. So you're a guy who's 23. You're measurably low. You got all the symptoms of low testosterone. You're a mess. You should feel like a piece of dog shit now for the next 12 years because Sean says you should. Yeah. You shouldn't get on it until you're 35. So I want you to live for the next 12 years just feeling like a bag of shit, just feeling absolutely awful until you get to that magical number, which is 35 years old. And then you can take control of your health, and then you can make yourself healthy and feel better and not feel like this anymore. For what reason? Why? Why do people say stuff like this? Steve, I get so frustrated when I hear this nonsense. It drives me nuts. You know why? Because, see, I know better, and I know you know better, and I know a lot of guys in the Facebook group know better, but there's so many guys out there just looking for answers, and they're looking for health, and they don't feel well, and they don't even know if it is a testosterone-related issue. And if it is a testosterone-related issue, they don't really know what they should be doing. But then they see stuff like this, and it prevents them from seeking help. Maybe the guy's 27. Okay, the guy's 27, and he watches Sean's video and says, oh, I shouldn't start before I'm 35. Shit.
Well, you're still better off if you listen to Sean, because at least when you're 35, you'll get on the TRT, because if you listen to Scott Herman's father, you'll never get it anyway.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so I have to be 35. I'm 27. Okay, so for the next 8 years, I got to find some way to feel better. Okay, so what do I do? I'm already eating really well. I'm already training, and I take my vitamins, and I spend time outside, and I make sure I get enough sleep, and I'm taking these other supplements and these other herbs, and I still feel like shit.
You should be taking a test booster.
What else can I be doing? Oh, I know. I'll go see my doctor. Maybe he'll give me an antidepressant, and he'll give me Cialis, and he'll give me all this other stuff. Yeah, that's a solution, guys. Yeah, do that. Take the pharmaceutical drugs that are really going to cause damage, that we can actually demonstrate cause damage over a period of time, because there's studies that show what kind of impact they're going to have on your health. Yeah, go do that. I'll stick with the testosterone that's natural, that's going to improve my health, that my body actually recognizes. My body sees the testosterone come in going, oh, testosterone, I know what this is. I know exactly what to do with this. Where have you been all my life? Because we haven't had you in a while. Hey, I can put this to use. So I'm going to put some here, I'm going to put some here, and I'll put some here. Okay? And it shows. I can demonstrate the benefits. So guys, when you're watching videos on YouTube with these experts, or just, I don't, even the guys that say they're not an expert, can you just use a little shred of critical thinking? Pretty please. Can you watch videos that actually have doctors that know what the hell they're talking about? We've had so many on this channel. We had over a dozen physicians on this channel. We keep bringing them back. Okay. Listen to the guys, the prescribing physicians that aren't trying to make you afraid, that have a huge reputation of guys doing very, very well. We know a lot of those. Listen to those. Okay. I get most of my information from them and from all the literature they drown me with on an almost weekly basis. Okay. Just, it makes me sad. It makes me sad that there's guys walking around trying to find answers and are getting their heads filled with this nonsense and decide not that they shouldn't do something, whether it be TRT or some other treatment or whatever, that they get swayed because some guy on Reddit says that you shouldn't do this because you're going to grow a third testicle or some freaking nonsense, and they don't, and then they just feel like crap. It drives me nuts. So guys, take control of your health seriously and use a bit of critical thinking here.
Hey, thanks for watching, and now click on one of these thumbnails to learn a ton more about TRT and hormone optimization.